I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. Today is Sunday, May 25th. And the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 3 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So the number 3 energy, when the number 3 is present on a day like today, the number 3 is a childlike, expressive energy. The number 3 is the child in numerology. The number 1 is the father. The number 2 is the mother. The number 3 is the child. The number 3 is creative self-expression. The number 3 is the artist. The number 3 can remind me of Gemini in the sense that it likes to turn over every stone. It's looking for something. But when it comes to, say, the Gemini is actually looking for its twin. It's looking for the side of itself that it hasn't come to the realization yet that it suppresses in order to be accepted in society. So it's almost as if Gemini energy forget that it even has a twin. And it's looking for something in everyone and everything. And it finds itself like it's insatiated. It's never satisfied. It feels incomplete because what it's looking for is within itself. And the number 3 energy, like Gemini energy, can have a hard time going within because it's too busy, distracted by everything else around it. But the number 3, like Gemini energy, if ever stop and going within, they'll realize that what they are looking for is within themselves and the way out is actually in. And with today being the 25th, 2 plus 5 is 7. And the number 7 calls us inside. It's an invitation to go inside. Because the number 7 is introspective energy. The number 7 is reflective energy. The number 7 is a rebel, similar to how the number 3 is a rebel. Because the number 3 could be that rebel, but rebel more in a childish way, in the sense that the number 3 doesn't like to be told what to do. And the number 3 also doesn't like to feel restricted in anything that looks like a boundary, in anything that looks like structure. And if a person has strong number 3 within their chart, they will have to teach themselves to be a disciplined person in order to see all that that number 3 has to offer. Because without discipline, without structure, that number 3 could be as talented as it wants, but it will never build anything from that talent. So yeah, the number 3 could be a rebel in that way. The number 3 could be so inconsistent and unreliable when it's operating without discipline and structure. But the day is the 25th and 2 plus 5 is 7. And the number 7 is a rebel because it's seeking truth. It's seeking answers, but it knows that the answers that it seeks cannot come from the physical world around it. It knows that the answer it seeks is deeper than what it sees around it. And the number 7 energy could be like the number 3 or Gemini energy I mentioned, turning over every stone by us, say, going on these, a binge of diving into information after information after information. But what's important for us to understand with the number 7 is the truth that it seeks can only come from within. So after reading the book or listening to the podcast or watching that movie or whatnot, there has to be a space of reflection, has to be some time for silence. Because after reading what you've read or listened to what you've listened to, you have to pause for a bit and reflect on what it is that you've heard. And then even just be still so that, your spirit can show you whatever it is that you need to see in order to set yourself free. Because the number 7 feels stuck. It feels restricted. The number 7 needs God. It needs the creator. It needs to always be on this journey of getting closer to the creator or getting closer to itself by understanding life through nature. So, when it comes to today's energy, it has this two-sided aspect to it, as one side wants to explore and be creative and be childlike and not have a care in the world. And the other side has some deep questions, but I could see how these two energies could go so well together, because one has some questions that needs to be answered. And I could see how the curiosity of the other side, the number 3, how the number 3's curiosity could cause a person to turn a stone over. And after they've turned the stone over, the number 27 dives deep in and start questioning everything that's beneath the stone and put all the ideas together like pieces of a puzzle in order to see the bigger picture. But 2 plus 5 does give 7. And the number 5 energy is one that is telepathic. So when I think of like spiritual gifts and things like that, the number 2 is this intuitive feeling. You know, you just have this gut feeling and you know. The number 5 is telepathic, is clairaudient. It's like you heard something. No one else heard anything, but you heard something. Or for me, that'll happen too. Or I'm watching something, or I'm listening to someone speak, and we're having a conversation and they're saying what they're saying, but it's like certain parts of what they say like highlight. It's almost like it extracts itself from the conversation and it stands out to me so loudly. And it's almost as if like, you know, it's painting a picture to me even separate from what the person is saying, where I've had situations all the time where a person is telling me one thing, and I think of like, say how we'll get to know certain people and they might be trying to paint a picture of themselves to be this good person that's so good to everyone else, and they've always find themselves in this position to where others are taking advantage of them and this, that, and the next. And I'm listening, but the mind just starts taking certain parts apart and it's like weaving it back together. And it's like after the conversation, the person might have wanted me to see them in a certain light, but I see them completely opposite because, you know, that clairaudient energy, it's like intuitively, like I heard the truth. So the number 5 is that. And then 2 plus 5 is 7, brings me to the crown. And the crown is, I know. I just know. It's this knowing that comes over you. For me, when I think of the crown chakra, I think of the whole email thing where it's like, you've got mail, where it's like you're going about doing your own thing or whatever. You're going about minding your business, and all of a sudden it's like something was downloaded into your mind. And for some, you might not realize it's there until you're doing something, and then the answer presented itself and it's like that package was delivered, or there was an update within your energy and you didn't notice, but you needed answers, and boom, it's there. Or for me, you know, all of a sudden, like, I just know this, or I just know that. And the energies in the day adding up, reducing to the number 3 vibration. The number 3, when it comes to intuitive energy, the number 3 for me is that creative energy. And I think of how our intuition communicates through us, through that creative mind. I think of being in a childlike mind. I got distracted a bit because there was this beautiful butterfly outside just now. So it's like, I think about how being in a childlike mind and the imagination's role when it comes to our intuition. And the number 3 for me is just that. Like, it brings me back to the Matrix movie. And when Neo went to see the Oracle in the first one, and I don't think it was by coincidence that he was surrounded by children as he was in the waiting room waiting to see the Oracle. And I don't think it was a coincidence either. After the child showed him how to bend the spoon, immediately the Oracle was ready for him, because it is through the imagination of the child, the number 3 energy, we're able to perceive the truth of this universe, this realm around us. And Gemini energy is strong today because today's Sunday and the sun is in Gemini and Mercury goes into Gemini today. And like I mentioned, Mercury, Gemini energy is ruled by Mercury, and Gemini energy is very similar to the number 3 energy. But when it comes to Gemini energy, Gemini is playful. Gemini is creative. Gemini is communicative. Gemini could be friendly. You know, Gemini could be your friend. Gemini energy reflects, like, you know, our local community and say our friend groups and the people that we met or that we've known for a long time. Gemini is a wordsmith. When I think of rappers and battle rap and people who are good with words, that's all Gemini energy. And Gemini could be so good with words. We're on the lower side of things. Gemini could be manipulative. That could be that scamming energy where the person knew all the right things to say to pretty much take all you got. So with Mercury entering into Gemini, I think of, say, Gemini energy having to do with communication, but communicating more on the surface side of things, meaning when I think of Gemini energy, I also think of like TikTok or short form content. And short form content could be perfect in some instances, because I think of like, say, I want to learn something about a plant that I got. And I might just want some short form content for the moment, because I might want to know, like, when certain things happen with this plant, what is the reason for it? And the short form content might be, all that I need. But then also I think of how problematic it could be in a lot of situations when we're taking major action from just hearing a small part of a thing and not hearing the whole thing. And I think of how Gemini energy could be associated with gossip in that way, where we took just a small part of what we heard and we ran with it and then build a whole narrative around the small part of what we heard, only to find out that that wasn't the whole truth. That wasn't everything. So with us entering into Gemini season and Mercury in Gemini, I feel like this is a great time to socialize, connect, make new friends and connections. But this is also a time for us to be careful or conscious about what it is that we say and who we say what we say to, because our words could easily be misconstrued, or someone could intentionally, depending on who you're dealing with, intentionally use whatever it is that you say to try to use it against you. And your best bet is to just not say anything, but work on balance when it comes to communication, when it comes to also the information that you're consuming and the information that you choose to put out to others. I think of how we have to be more intentional when it comes to the things that we share, where I think of how sometimes we'll come across certain videos on the internet and they're meant to get us angry. They're meant to get a reaction out of us. And we're so quick to share it with someone else only to realize it wasn't even real. It was fake. So, be present when it comes to the information you're consuming, how you're informing yourself, how you're informing others, and be present also too on how the information that others are presenting to you can cause you to make major changes in your life and later on regret it. But like I said, I do appreciate the childlike, playful energy that it brings. So when it comes to the spirit guidance today, we have the oyster, and the oyster is in the reversal position. In the upright position, if the oyster came out and it was in the upright position, I would say the spirit guidance for today is encouraging us to implement patience, implement reflection, or embrace the struggle. In the reversal position, this will bring me to the thought of the oyster is getting ready to open. It will bring me to something coming to an end. It's like maybe a hard time coming to an end, a tough time coming to an end, a tough cycle coming to an end. I think of like the oyster opening up and you're seeing the pearl or the diamond that was created. It's like something around today's energy brings me to, an ending of a hard time. And the number 3 does have to, today adding up or reducing to number 3 vibration, it does have to do with new beginnings, some tangible beginning when it comes to something. And even though there's a tangible beginning when it comes to something, with the day being the 25th, we're questioning this beginning. We want to understand something about this new beginning, this new path that we're stepping into today. And it's a path of creativity, expression, but there's a part of us that want to know more. We have questions. And the tarot associated with today energy is 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups in the upright position is a wish fulfilled. And I feel like with these two energies together and the way how it came out, like I said, it's like, a wish fulfilled because a hard time has come to an end, experiencing some kind of a tangible outcome after putting some hard work in. And with the day being the 25th, I could see how some of us, want to take a step back for a second and soak the moment in when it comes to something, or want to understand something on a deeper level. Also too, I did mention the number 3 energy today could be restless, like Gemini energy. So some of us today could find ourselves wanting to be a busybody. The feeling that's also coming to mind for today is, I think of, say, myself in the past, where say something really good happened for me. I'll end up self-sabotaging in ways that I didn't mean to at the time by my reward. So say something good happened to me, but at the time, my reward may have been going to brunch and having a bunch of mimosas with those who I want to celebrate with. That's when I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. But I remember how my rewards would be destructive in the sense that this great thing happened, and say some of us who, when good things happen, yes, you're grateful that good things are happening, but something about the good feeling feels so like too much to the point that you want to escape the reality of it in that weird way. Like you should want to sit in it, but for some reason it's like you feel like you want to, go and celebrate and treat yourself, reward yourself, whether you're rewarding yourself with your favorite meal, you're getting drinks, you're hitting the blunt, whatever, how you're, excuse me, however you're choosing to reward yourself. And I think about how in the past, when great things would happen, my rewards would set me back. And a reward that sets one back would be, I think of like, say, a person who got an amazing promotion at work, and their reward is to go out with friends and have a bunch of drinks and eat like huge meals of their favorite things. And then maybe, that was took so much of a toll on them that day, where the next day they feel like just keeping the party going for whatever reason, because, they had so much of whatever yesterday, they still want to get lost in that feeling the next day because maybe it's the weekend, and they indulge some more. And then now it's Monday, they're tired, their energy is off, and it's almost like they're fighting to keep up. And to me, that's a form of self-sabotaging. And it feels like for someone here, it's important to become aware of that within oneself. How, when good things come in the way of rewarding ourselves or others taking us out for a reward, how that sometimes could be a setback. And I think of how some people, it's like this good thing came in and all of a sudden they end up taking a step back and it feels like they lost it. They pushed it away in some way. And for me, I could see how that could happen for some people in the name of a reward, celebrating with a reward. That just came up and I felt like sharing that. And the moon today is in Taurus, and the moon in Taurus is squaring Mars in Leo. So of course, moon in Taurus, the moon is our inner world, our inner conversation, what nurtures us, how we're speaking to ourselves. And with the moon in Taurus, our inner world, or like say someone with moon in Taurus, their mom would be someone more than likely is traditional, who encourage the need for stability and security. And with Taurus energy connected to Venus, there's this strong need for, Venus energy deals with value and beauty and organization and pleasure. So I think of, say, someone, with moon and Taurus energy, or collectively, we want to nurture ourselves with, say, like I mentioned, maybe reward ourselves with the comforting things, but then these comforting things could be a bit of a distraction, or they could set us back. Like I think of, say, the person who has a goal to leave their 9-to-5 or leave one career and take a chance on themselves and, start their own business or do their own thing, or move out of their hometown or move to another place. And then with the moon and Taurus energy, a person might call themselves rewarding themselves by buying a new car when they don't need it, rewarding themselves by buying things that they don't need. And it's like a person keeps saying that they want to make changes, but they keep creating debt for themselves in the name of reward, which is self-sabotaging themselves. And then they find themselves stuck. Or I think of Taurus energy, moon and Taurus, and dealing with beauty and things of that nature. I could see moon and Taurus energy where a person could be in a relationship that's problematic, but they're stuck there because their partner looks so good as far as they're concerned, or they look so good together, or their partner completes them because they're so good looking, but the relationship is driving them nuts and keeping them stuck. Moon and Taurus energy, we're nurtured by our comforts. We're nurtured by the idea of beauty and just the finer things. So with us being nurtured by those things, it could cause us to be a prisoner to our situation. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. Because we're not willing to, deal with discomfort for a bit. We're not willing to be uncomfortable. So because we're not willing to be uncomfortable, we're stuck in a place we don't want to be. But at least there's this sense of security or stability because it's familiar. And Mars and Leo, we're motivated by ourselves. We're motivated by having courage, but mostly Mars and Leo energy, like Mars is our motivation. Leo is the inner child. We're motivated by the inner child. So with Mars and Leo squaring the moon, it brings me to the thought of Mars and Leo wants to explore new things. You want to start that business. You want to listen to your inner child, start that bakery, start that cooking business, dance. You want to, have your own salon. You want to get into cosmetology, beauty, whatever. You want to listen to that inner child. But Moon and Taurus is like, I've been at this company for a really long time and they have really good benefits. Moon and Taurus is like, people don't really respect people in those careers where, I rather go into this career or whatnot that is more respectable, even if the person is miserable and they're complaining all the time. And I mentioned this job has really good benefits, but whenever we force ourselves to stay in something that is out of alignment with our truth, we're going to need those good benefits. So hopefully they're as good as we think they are. And Mars in Leo is beautifully speaking to Venus in Aries. And Venus in Aries, we value ourselves. We value who we are. And I like that it's so close to Chiron in Aries because it's like, I value my imperfection. And I feel like Chiron energy for me in a chart can help a person to see how their pain is aligned with their purpose. And with Venus conjunct that, I value my pain. And because of my pain, it makes me so powerful when it comes to my purpose. And Mars and Leo is positively speaking to that. And it's like, I want to step into this, that, or the next. I want to express my inner child. And my pain is helping me to become stronger in my purpose and make a difference when it comes to the people I choose to serve in this. So I love that energy for us today. And today is a powerful day where it feels like some wishes are being fulfilled for some people. The hard times is behind some people. And, we want to dive deep and understand something about it. So hopefully, for some of us, it's not a matter of, great things are happening and we become uncomfortable and good things are happening. So we intentionally sabotage them because we feel more comfortable when, things are regular, whatever regular looks like. When it comes to a day like today, if your wishes are fulfilled and there's reasons to celebrate, reflect on how much you deserve it. Reflect on how much you deserve it and reflect on how much this is the beginning and it only gets better from here. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. I would love to hear from you. You could do that by dropping me a yellow heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.